Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I've been a bit nostalgic recently and thinking about way back when. This feeling has come from watching people, makeup artists on social media, my age and a little bit older, talk about makeup and their techniques and how much has not changed, because those techniques still are something that we should be doing today, but how much like makeup has become not complicated, but how much social media has complicated makeup in terms of people being like, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. And I started to think about how I used to do makeup, how I used to do makeup on clients, and what was like my go-to look for clients when I was 18 years old. And you know, the trend was a smoky eye. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to create on myself how I used to do someone's makeup in 2014. Yeah, so it would have been 2006. So we're talking a long way back. I have all MAC Cosmetics products because that's what I would have done. All purchased myself. So let's get into it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up. Let's just do it. Listen, I still do think that this is a tutorial that will still look great even today. Something I used to do, or actually let's put some eye cream on. Something I would always do, which I still do now, is carve out my brows. I always would carve out eyebrows on people just because I liked how tidy it made an eyebrow, even if they weren't plucked or done. If the brow wasn't the shape I wanted it to be, I could make it clean and tidy by carving out the brow. So I'm just taking a little bit of concealer on a very thin brush like this, and I'm going under the brow hairs, being careful not to actually go over or cover the root of the brow, and pulling that out into a tail. And I describe it as like, the shape I'm doing is, I call it like a backwards eyebrow. So thicker here and thinner there. Like that could be an eyebrow if it was on the other side of my face, you know what I mean? And we're not taking it all the way down to the lid either. And then I will blend this in place. So I'm not bringing it down, I'm blending along like the seam of where that concealer meets my skin. Because, you know, I don't like concealer on the eyelids, never have, even since I was a 17-year-old child makeup artist. It was always eye primers for me, always will be, it's never failed me once. And I'm just blending that in. Again, I'm not taking my brush when I'm blending, I'm not taking my brush up to the brow, I'm letting that concealer be very much obvious, and like, this is a concealer line. And then I just blend out the line by going down the edge of the brow here with my brush. No product on it, I'm just blending that out into the skin. Like this. This is exactly how I do it, of course. Oh, I did say I bought all these products myself, right? I bought this lip erase. MAC have since contacted me and said, we're going to send you lip erase, but we'll talk about that later. So I'm going to move a soft ochre paint pot from MAC. Again, the thing I would always use under eye makeup, depending on skin tone. It'll be Constructivist, paint pot, soft ochre, painterly, whatever the skin tone was. And I'll do a thin layer and then buff that out, overlapping the concealer, because I don't want eyeshadow to sit on that concealer at all. Make sure I'm covering like the outside corner of the eye, not under the eye, I didn't take it under the eye, and then tapping that into the lid. And that's how I would, and still do, prime my lids, but in place of the MAC paint pot, I would use the Sigma primer. Okay, so these are the shades. Let me just open them all. Of eyeshadow we're going to use, and this is going to be nostalgia for a lot of you. For the lids, I am using Carbon, which is the black eyeshadow. That's going to be haloed. This was like my technique I always did by Embark. And then for any highlight area, we are going to be using matte white gesso. None of this is, or is it gesso? I call it gesso. All matte, no shimmer. Wait, we're going to start off with Embark. One thing that I love to do with a smoky eye was put down a layer of a deep brown that the black could fade into. So black, when it comes to blending black eyeshadow, one, it could be messy. That's why I always do my eyes first and leave the, you know, the skin underneath. So if anything falls on the skin, I can just clean it up. But I loved Embark to just, like I said, to give something for the black to fade into. So I'm just going to take that through the socket. And the reason I liked Embark is because it had like this warmth to it. It's almost like a reddy brown. So when the black blends in and fades out, it's kind of easy to fade into skin, you know? So I would create like this shape. You can see it's not like obviously brown, So when the black fades into this, it's going to give us more of a gradual blend. And then we're not just fading out straight up black. And I'm kind of keeping these corners a bit more rounded. I'm not going to pull them out into a wing so much. I say that, watch me do it by habit. Okay, so we can absolutely build up on this a little bit later and add more if we want more of a fade. But with black eyeshadow with smoky eyes, for me it's all about building up little bit by little bit. So we're going to go in with Carbon. I'm going to load up my brush on both sides. I'm going to tap off any excess. And I'm just going to start tapping onto the lid. Right from the lashes up to the socket. And I love this eyeshadow because it was like pure black. This was like the blackest eyeshadow you could find. So what I'm doing is I'm taking it in this kind of shape. So I'm rounding off on the corner here. I'm not really taking it right up to where my socket is. You can see there's kind of a gap there, right? Because I want to blend up to there first, and then we can build up the black. So this is the shape. And then I'm just going to gently buff up that Carbon black. And also leaving this inside corner because I want that to be white. Then I can add a little bit more because sometimes you might fade some out if you're like blending quite heavily. Then we can start to take it up gradually, bit by bit, and start to buff that Carbon shade, the black shade, into the Embark shade, which is the brown. And we can always add some more of that brown and to give us more of a gentle fade, but I just don't want to go crazy with the black just yet. It's almost as if we're trying to get the fade out first done, and then we can build up that color. Okay, now I think I've taken the black as high as I want to take it, so I'm taking a clean blending brush and just smoking that out a little bit. And then I'm just going to go over the whole lid again with the black eyeshadow just to add even more depth, like so. Aw, memories. And of course the same again on the other lid. Okay, now we're going to go in with our white. I mean, this isn't terrible. It just looks like a smoky eye. And I'm just going to do that under the brow arch here. And I'm going to kind of start by tapping in the color first. I want the white to be kind of visible. Like I want it to be white. And actually, I mean, the concealer I would have used under the brow at the time would have been the one in the tub that they don't make anymore, which I'm really surprised they discontinued it. Was it not Studio Finish? Select? No. Yeah, Studio Finish concealer. Very surprised they discontinued that. And I'm also going to put the white on the inside corner here. Now, if a client was feeling kind of daring, we would have done silver on this bit here. Not always though, not always. I'm just going to blend that in. And then we're just going to make sure that this white is kind of blended into the grayness that's smoking out from the Carbon eyeshadow. Do one final blend through the socket here. Actually, I do think I've taken that white a little bit too far in for way back in the day, so I'm just going to do a little bit more black here. One thing I would always want to do is keep adding more and more black, just like tapping on the black. And then I am going to put a little bit more Embark, the brown shadow, and then just go through the sockets one last time. Just so we really do get that fade from the black into the smokiness. Yes, accurate, very accurate. I have a Studio Fix in NC27. I'm not sure if this will be my shade. Everyone wore Studio Fix at the time. It was Studio Fix Fluid. I never really used the powder unless somebody requested it. This would have been when Studio Fix was in the old packaging when the pump was separate. My concealer of choice under the eyes would have been Moisture Cover. MAC don't make that anymore. And I've always done concealer this way. Maybe a little bit less than this actually. Actually, I would have done a lot less than this. This is actually a very modern way to do a concealer. Then for under the eyes, we're using the dark brown, the Embark, to go the whole way across. I always had to halo one color with another. Like it would never just be straight up one color under the eye, because I like it to again have a layer of fade into the skin. Some people call it drop shadowing. To me it's just putting eye makeup on. And then Carbon, the deep black, as close to the lash line as possible. Okay, so my highlighters of choice were always Luna, which I have here, Or what was a more yellowy one? The cream colour base. So this would always go with a finger, just here. I mean, that's not bad actually. That's still like doable, wearable. That's actually really, really nice. Ooh, maybe I'll keep that aside. It looks, okay, they must have updated the formula because this looks a lot more skin-like than it used to. Like, it used to just look a little bit white. So we use a little bit of lip erase. Lip erase was a pro product back then, and I wasn't in the pro store until a good few years after I started with MAC, but I don't do my lips without erasing them, so we're going to use a bit of lip erase. This is just, and this is a lip balm. And I don't know if this is just a pro product now, or if it's going to be available in all stores and online, but it literally just neutralizes a lip like that. I don't know, okay, I don't know whether to modernize it a little bit and put on a lip liner, because at that point of time, 90s happened and then we kind of lost liner a little bit. So I might just go straight on with Oyster Girl lip gloss. I'm choosing between Oyster Girl and See-Through. I'm thinking both were like a good, let's start with Oyster Girl and see how we feel, because both were like the most popular ones back then. Oh, that smell, so many memories. So that was Oyster Girl. Oh, I forgot, okay, we need to do something else. And then See-Through is this one. So just mix the two. Perfect. Perfect. Now, I always went in, where's it gone? With Smolder. Where's Smolder eye pencil? Smolder wasn't actually the best mascara eye pencil for a smoky eye. There was one called Feline, which was really good, but Smolder just had this really pitch black, you know, formula and texture, but also it could be a little bit messy, but it's a great color. It really is a great color. My go-to lashes at that time was number 7 lashes. I would, as in the number 7, not the brand number 7, because it was MAC. And I would always try and convince people to put lashes on. I'd be like, I've done all this makeup and you're not even going to let me put lashes on. So I would always be like, do number 7, because there's like gaps in between and they look kind of like almost doll-like when you're looking at them in the packaging, But because they're like this, what happens is your natural lashes sit a little bit further down underneath and they give you this really nice fluffy lash. But I don't have them. I swear I bought some. But we're going to go in with number 83, Siren Lash. I don't even know if this was a number at the time. I think it might have been. 38 rings a bell. Just when I'm waiting for that glue to dry down a little bit and get a little bit tacky. I'm cheating a bit. I'm going to jump forward a few years and I'm going to use the Warm Soul Mineralized Blush from MAC. I would have used a blush like, was it Cubic? I'll put the name, I can't remember the names. I'll put them on screen. Harmony was one. This is a very similar like neutral shade. I would have actually more than likely used bronzer. My favorite ever bronzer was Matte Bronze from MAC, which I don't think they make anymore, but I use that on everyone. I did not care if you wanted shimmer. So this is how I would have done a client's makeup in 2006 when I first started doing makeup. It was a look back then, trust me. The smoky eye with the white and like the nude lip. How would I make this more modern, right? How would you change this up? Let's start with the eyes. This is a very old color palette and the white above the brow is kind of like, it's very dated. So I personally like it, but I'm just gonna blend it out so it's a little bit softer. And I'm actually gonna pull the shape out into a point. The rounded shape is cute, but it's again very off that time. So I'm just gonna point out. I'm using a clean brush and I'm actually just pulling all the eyeshadow into a bit more of a cat's eye rather than a rounded shape. I'm going to take a little bit of blush and I'm actually going to run that through the socket just to warm up this whole eye look because it's very, very, again, like retro. Not to call 2006 retro, sorry everyone. Just soften up this whole area with that blush. I'm going to remove that lip completely and literally just make it more modern by using a lip liner. I'm using the shade Whirl. I'm not sure why, but back then the style was to make sure your lips like didn't exist. But now we want them to exist with a little bit more volume. So I'm overlining my lip and adding more volume to the outer corners. I'm then going to go in with Oyster Girl just because it's a little bit more of a modern finish. It has a bit more sparkle to it. And just applying that in the center of the lip. Just to finish up the eye, I'm gonna cover that white on the inside corner with a black. And now we have a bit more of a modern version, as much as you can going from that to that. Let me know which side you prefer down below, and I will see you very soon. Bye.